Iran is currently facing a deep internal crisis shaped by economic hardship, political tensions, and growing public dissatisfaction. Over the past several years, the country's economy has been under intense pressure due to a combination of international sanctions, domestic economic mismanagement, and regional conflicts. These factors have significantly weakened Iran's financial stability and reduced the government's ability to meet the needs of its population. International sanctions have limited Iran's access to global financial markets and restricted its oil exports, which are a major source of government revenue. As a result, foreign exchange inflows have declined, and the national currency, the Iranian rial, has lost much of its value, making imports more expensive and increasing the cost of everyday goods for ordinary citizens. The economic consequences of these pressures are visible in rising inflation and declining purchasing power. In recent years, inflation in Iran has climbed to around 50%, causing the prices of food, housing, and essential items to rise sharply. Basic goods such as meat, rice, and other staples have become significantly more expensive, placing enormous pressure on households. In some cases, food prices have increased by more than 70% within a single year, while the national currency has fallen to record lows against the US dollar. This situation has pushed many families toward poverty, with estimates suggesting that between a quarter and half of the population may now live below the poverty line. Economic decline has also affected employment opportunities and weakened public services, further intensifying social frustration. These economic problems have sparked waves of protests and demonstrations across the country. In late December 2025, widespread protests began in Tehran's Grand Bazaar after the currency collapsed and inflation surged. What started as economic demonstrations quickly spread to multiple cities across Iran, including Isfahan, Shiraz, and Mashhad. Shopkeepers, workers, students, and ordinary citizens joined the protests, expressing anger over economic hardship and government policies. Many protesters called for economic reforms, currency stabilization, and broader political changes. The scale of these protests showed that dissatisfaction was not limited to one social group, but had spread across many parts of Iranian society. The government's response to these demonstrations has also contributed to the crisis. Authorities have used strict security measures, including mass arrests, internet shutdowns, and the deployment of security forces in order to control unrest. In some incidents, security forces reportedly used lethal force against protesters, which increased domestic and international criticism. Such actions have intensified tensions between the government and parts of the population, further deepening mistrust and instability. In addition to economic and political challenges, Iran also faces structural issues such as corruption, unemployment, water shortages, and electricity outages. These long-standing problems have accumulated over time, creating a broader sense of frustration among citizens who feel that reforms have been slow or ineffective. At the same time, regional conflicts and geopolitical tensions have forced the government to increase military spending, diverting resources that might otherwise support economic development or social programs. Overall, Iran's internal crisis is the result of multiple overlapping pressures. Economic decline, sanctions, political repression, and structural governance challenges have combined to create a complex situation that affects both the stability of the state and the daily lives of its citizens. While the future remains uncertain, The current crisis demonstrates how economic hardship and political dissatisfaction can interact to produce widespread social unrest and significant pressure for change within a country. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, commonly known as the IRGC, is one of the most powerful institutions in Iran. It was established in 1979 after the Iranian Revolution with the primary purpose of protecting the new Islamic political system and preventing any internal or external threats to the revolutionary government. Over time, the IRGC evolved from a purely military organization into a complex and influential force that plays a central role in Iran's political, economic, and security structures. Unlike the regular Iranian army, which is mainly responsible for defending the country's borders, the IRGC's mission focuses on safeguarding the ideology and stability of the Islamic Republic. The IRGC operates through several branches, including ground forces, naval forces, aerospace forces, and a special operations wing known as the Quds Force. Each of these branches performs specific roles in maintaining Iran's national security and projecting influence beyond its borders. The Quds Force, for example, has been widely known for its involvement in supporting allied groups and governments in different parts of the Middle East. Through these activities, the IRGC has become an important instrument of Iran's foreign and regional policy. Beyond its military responsibilities, the IRGC also holds significant influence in Iran's domestic politics. Many former IRGC commanders have entered political life, becoming members of parliament, ministers, or leaders of major state institutions. This close relationship between military leadership and political authority has strengthened the organization's ability to influence decision-making processes within the country. As a result, the IRGC is often seen not only as a security force, but also as a major political actor that helps shape national policies and strategies. Another important aspect of the IRGC's power is its involvement in the Iranian economy. Over the past decades, the organization has developed extensive business networks and controls or influences numerous companies involved in construction, telecommunications, energy, transportation, and infrastructure projects. Large development projects in Iran are often connected to companies affiliated with the IRGC. This economic presence provides the organization with significant financial resources and further expands its influence within society. The IRGC also plays a major role in internal security through organizations such as the Basij Militia, a volunteer force that assists in maintaining public order and supporting government policies. The Basij operates across universities, workplaces, and local communities, helping the state monitor and manage social and political activity. Because of this network, the IRGC has the ability to mobilize supporters and respond quickly to domestic unrest or protests. Due to these combined military, political, and economic roles, the IRGC has become deeply embedded in the structure of the Iranian state. Its influence extends far beyond traditional defense responsibilities and touches many aspects of governance and society. For analysts studying Iran's political system, understanding the role of the IRGC is essential because the organization remains one of the key pillars supporting the country's current political order. Iran today is experiencing a complex internal crisis that combines economic pressure, political dissatisfaction, and growing social tensions. Over the past several years, many Iranians have expressed frustration with the country's economic situation and political system. High inflation, rising prices of basic goods, unemployment among young people, and the weakening value of the national currency have made everyday life more difficult for many citizens. International sanctions have also played a major role in limiting Iran's economic growth by restricting trade, foreign investment, and access to global financial systems. As a result, businesses struggle to expand, and many families face increasing financial hardship. These economic difficulties have contributed to waves of public protests across the country. Demonstrations have occurred in different cities and have involved people from various social groups, including students, workers, and women. Many protesters have demanded economic reforms, greater social freedoms, and changes in governance. The protests often reflect deeper concerns about corruption, lack of political representation, and restrictions on civil liberties. Although the government has attempted to maintain control through security measures and restrictions on demonstrations, the repeated emergence of protests indicates that dissatisfaction remains present within parts of society. Another important factor in Iran's internal crisis is the generational divide. A large portion of Iran's population is young, and many of these young people have different expectations about social freedoms, access to information, and economic opportunities compared with older generations. With the expansion of the internet and social media, young Iranians are increasingly exposed to global ideas and lifestyles. This exposure has contributed to greater public debate inside the country about personal freedoms, women's rights, and the role of religion in politics. These social debates sometimes challenge traditional political structures and create tensions between reform-minded groups and more conservative elements within the government. In addition to social and economic pressures, there are also political tensions within Iran's leadership. The Iranian political system is made up of several institutions, including elected bodies and powerful unelected organizations. Differences in priorities between these institutions sometimes lead to disagreements over domestic policy, economic strategy, and relations with the international community. These internal disagreements can make it more difficult for the government to respond effectively to public concerns. Taken together, economic hardship, public protests, generational change, and political disagreements create a situation that many analysts describe as a period of internal strain for the country. While Iran remains a powerful and influential state in the Middle East, the combination of these internal challenges has raised important questions about how the political system will adapt in the coming years. Understanding these pressures helps observers analyze the potential future direction of Iran's society and government, as well as the broader implications for regional stability and international relations.